Hello, this is Sachin Patil. Today I am going to explain in detail communication interface, part 4 of chapter 2 of Introduction to Embedded System by Cebu KV. So, you take any embedded system which is made up of 6 components built around the 6 component, and the main component in any embedded system is a core, and to help support this core to communicate with all the external peripheral components and a real world interface, this communication interface protocols were implemented to help the embedded system for communication purpose. So, in the communication interface we have two types. One is on chip and another one is on board, another one is off the board or external interface, what it is called. So, there are a set of different protocols we are studying in this section. So, for on chip or on board or a chip level communication interface, I2C, SPI, UART, one wire, etc. And for wireless external communication interfaces, we are studying by discussing the communication protocols like RS-232, RS-485, parallel port, USB, infrared, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, etc. So, we will go in much more detail. So, communication interface can be viewed in two different perspectives. One, device level communication or a board level communication interface, that is also called as an on-board communication interface. Means within a PCB, printed circuit board, the different ICs which are mounted, if they want to communicate among them or they want to exchange the data among them, then these some on-board communication interface protocols are to be used for that. And another one is a product level communication interface, or also called as an external communication interface. Product level means the two embedded products can communicate with each other, right. So, for that another set of protocols are available. So, for that we have to use these protocols. So, on a different type of components arranged on the printed circuit board or serial interface, like using the I2C, SPI, UART and a parallel interface. They are called on-board interfaces. So, this is a list for your I2C, SPI, UART, one wire interface and parallel interface. We will see one by one in detail. So, I2C is invented by Philips in 1980s, and it is specially designed to interface the microcontroller system and the peripheral chips in the television set. So, I2C can be provide easy way for communication, and it is a bidirectional, half duplex and synchronous two wire serial interface bus. The synchronous means this synchronizes with clock. The communication between the two chips is synchronized by the clock signals generated by the master IC. The I2C bus comprise of two bus lines. One is a serial clock, that is called an SCL, where I am pointing on the screen using the cursor. So, serial data line, that is a SDA, where the SCL is serial clock line is responsible for generating the synchronization clock pulses for communication, and SDA line is responsible for transmitting and receiving the serial data across the devices. So, the I2C bus can act either master device or slave device. So, master device is always responsible for controlling the communication by initiating the data transfer, sending data and generating the necessary synchronization clock pulses what are required. So, when you look at this diagram, block diagram, so you will come to know clear idea you will get. So, there is a two lines, I am pointing them, two lines using the cursor. So, you can see here SDA and SCL. So, I2C support a multi-master on the same bus, multi-master, multi-slaves can be connected, and I2C standards, they are capable of handling data rate of 100 kbps, 400 kbps, even high speed I2C implementations, bus protocol implementation can handle up to 3.4 megabits per second. So, you look at this diagram, so where there are two master 1 and master 2, and rest 3 are slaves, slave 1, slave 2, slave 3. Slave 1 and slave 2 are another two ICs, and this one is a slave 2 is a memory. So, you can observe here that each slave is given with one address. So, when SDA line by master will initiate the communication. So, master want to read or write something on this memory, data on memory, then the master will bring down, look at here the timing diagram. So, first look at here where I am pointing the cursor. So, SDA line is brought to low, it is always high before. So, when it brought to low, the slaves will come to know that the master want to communicate with this, and then the master 1 will send the address, and at the same time it will send either read operation or write operation, and immediately the slave will send the acknowledgement on the same line, and it is all these all data what the address bits are sent for every rising or a falling edge of the clock pulses. So, it means the synchronous, not asynchronous, it is a synchronous protocol, and then the data line, data bits, 8-bit data are sent. Then after receiving the data, again the slave will send the acknowledgement signal that you can see here. I am pointing to the cursor. So, after communication, the data transfer, the SDA line is brought to high again, so that it shows the end of the data. Next in this list is serial peripheral interface, SPI bus. It is also most popular bus protocol. So, that is invented or introduced by Motorola company. A serial peripheral bus SPI is a synchronous in the sense it synchronizes all its operation function operates in synchronization with clock signal. Bidirectional full duplex Bidirectional means at the same time full duplex. So, at the same time the devices which are communicating each other, they can transmit and receive. 4-wire serial interface bus. But as compared to the previous protocol I2C, SPI is a single master multiple slave system, and only 2 devices are active at any given point of time in this. The 4 signal lines for communications are used, and this here when we look at the block diagram you will get clear idea. Look at here, this is a single master. I am pointing to the cursor, just you can have a look at it, and the multiple slaves, and the 4 lines clock, S clock, MOS, master out, serial in. Master will send the data serially and slave will take it inside. That is why master out, slave in. Master master in, slave out. And slave when the sends the data, so master receives. This is transmitted. This data is transmitted on MISO. And slave select is sent by master. The slave it will select for communication. There are 4 signals as I discussed in the showing the block diagram. I hope you understood the 4 signals line are used. And this MOSI, MISO, serial clock and slave select. So, here how the communication takes place, and most before that the serial SPI works on the principle of shift register. Master and slave both devices contain the special shift register for data to transmit and to receive. Normally the shift register it depends on device to device, the bit size will change. Usually it is a multiple of 8 bit. So, either it may be 8 bit, 16 bit, like that, multiple of 8 bit. So, first the master is responsible for communication. The clock signal is supplied by the master to all the slaves, and then select 1, slave select 2, slave select 3, any one of the signal is made low, so that that particular slave is get selected. If suppose a prom is selected, then based on either it want to read from that or write from that, it will send the signals through MOSI or MISO pins. So, here you can see in the timing diagram, the master is responsible taking the initiative, then clock samples are sent, and at the same time it will send a high, made it high, and then the data is transferred. Bidirectional means at the same time both master and slave can exchange the data. Here you can see this. So, next in this list on the onboard communication interface, the protocol is a universal asynchronous receiver transmitter, that is popularly known as UART. So, UART is a protocol invented and implemented by Digital Equipment Corporation (TEC) in a mid 1975. It is a asynchronous type of protocol, and then both the transmitter and receiver should be set as identical in all the baud rate, start bit, stop bit, flow control and parity bit. The start and stop bit of the communication is indicated through the inserting the special bits in the bit data stream, or what we call as a packet or a frame is formed. So you will get clear idea about when you look at the block diagram of it. And start bit is added first and stop bit added at the end of the bit stream. And first least significant bit is transmitted, and then it is followed by the higher bit. And a receiving device starts polling its receiver line as per the baud rate setting. So usually it is a universally accepted baud rate 9600 bits per second it supports. So look at here, there are the two ICs which want to communicate. So if at any UART protocol enabled, then the both ICs can transmit and receive at the same time. The transmitter is connected to receiver, and of the one IC, the first IC's receiver is connected by transmitter of the second IC. So because of this, transmission reception can be done at the same time. For example, a UART 1, so IC 1 want to communicate with IC 2. Through it communicates with the transmitter line connected to receiver pin of the chip 2. So first this line was in ideal case it is high. At first bring to low to indicate the start of the communication, and then it is followed by 8-bit data and then a parity check bit for check the error while transmitting this data line. As you can see here, I am pointing the data bit stream using the cursor. So here in this data bit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones are there, means they are odd in number already, that is why 0 is added. And at the end, to say end of the communication, so stop bit is added. Stop bit means this line at the end is brought to high for longer duration. So this shows that this is the end of the communication, stop. So this total frame has a start bit, data bits 8-bit, and then one parity check bit, another and stop bit. This parity check bit is used by the receiver end to verify whether the correct data has received or not. Next in this line of onboard communication protocol is a one wire interface, and this one is introduced by Maxim Dallas Semiconductor Company. So and it is a asynchronous half duplex communication protocol. Half duplex in the sense only one can transmit or receive the data, not at the same time transmission reception, just like previous protocol, just like previous protocol in UART you have observed. So this data transmission along with the power also carried to the slaves. Okay. So it is carried, the signal is carried by a single line that is called as a DQ, where I am pointing here, called as a DQ. Thus first one wire interface supports a single master and one or more slave devices on the bus. So every one wire device contains globally uniquely 64-bit identification number stored within it. This unique identification number can be used for addressing the individual devices present in the bus in case there are multiple slave devices connected to the one wire. If it is a single wire, a single device slave, and then it does not need any address. directly it is connected to DQ. But so multiple slaves are there, each slave is given with a 64-bit address. First, before sending the data, first the master will send the reset pulses so that the device's slaves get ready for communication. Either slave will send to the master the data or master will send to the slave, but the master will take initiative. Then the master will send the 64-bit identification code, then the slave is get selected. Then immediately the master will send the data, and then again it will send the reset sequence, so that you can see there the reset sequence for start of the communication and end of the communication is same. So this is how the data is transmitted. Parallel interface. So parallel interface normally used for communicating with the peripheral devices which are memory mapped to the host of the system. So the processor or a controller of embedded contain the parallel buses, and the device which supports parallel bus can directly connect it to this bus system, controlled by control signal interface between the device and the hosts. The control line includes a the read or write signal and a device select signal. So here you can see that the host is usually a microcontroller or microprocessor, and the address is sent for selecting the peripheral, and based on the address the chip is selected through the chip select signal, and then the data is either transmitted or received from the peripheral. I am pointing by the cursor. So based depends on what kind of device it is. If it is a memory, either if it read and write signals are transmitted based on the requirement, either the device a microcontroller want to write or read from that. So next next part or a section of type of communication interface is external communication interface, or also called as an off-board communication interface, or you can say this is a embedded device to embedded device communication, two separate PCBs. So previous all the protocols what we have discussed all are on board. On board means a single PCB may be having more than one ICs. Those are all ICs will communicate among each other by using any one of the protocol which is suitable for that embedded design. And next in the list are external communication interfaces. The external communication interfaces protocols are RS-232, Universal Serial Bus, that popularly known as USB, Firewire, Infrared, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Zigbee, or GPRS, General Packet Radio Services. So just we will go through one by one. So RS-232 and RS-845. So as you know, the RS-232 is developed by Electronic Industry Association, EAI, and then it is a legacy, a full duplex wired asynchronous communication protocol, and there are two types of connectors used for RS-232 communication. First one is a DP9 and a 9-pin connector, and a DB25, a 25-pin connector. Only RS-232 supports only point-to-point communication and not as suitable for multi-drop, means one point to multiple devices or a multi-point are not connected using this RS-232. Whereas RS-485 is an enhanced version of RS-422. It supports a multi-drop communication with up to 32 transmitting devices, means 32 receiving devices on the bus, 32 transmitting and 32 receiving devices on the bus you can connect to using this wire. As you can see here, DB9 pin description is given, and where pin 1 is a data carrier detector, pin 2 is receiver pin, pin 3 is transmission pin. There are the handshaking signals, and at the same time ground and VCC all are listed in this. And as you can see, the orientation of these all pins in the connector. So here this RS232 supports baud rate up to 20 kbps. So commonly the baud rate is around 300 Mbps, 1200 bps, 24, 9600 bps, or around 12 kbps, 20 kbps. The maximum operating distance of RS232 is 50 feet at the highest supported baud rate. Supports only point to point communication, whereas RS422 supports a data rate of 10 kbps and a distance up to 400 feet. Next in this list of off-board, or what you call an external communication interface, is a USB, Universal Serial Bus, very popular. We have using this protocol in the pen drive, where we can carry the data in that pen drives. So that you can see here on the corner, top corner, where I am pointing, it's a pen drive example what is I am showing in picture. So this protocol is used implementing this. Okay. So wired high speed serial bus for data communication. The USB host can support connect up to 127, and peripheral devices and other USB hosts. One host can connect up to 127 different peripheral devices. It is a core group members like Intel, Microsoft and IBM and other few companies were made a team to develop this protocol, and it is released in 1995. And USB communication system follows the star topology with a USB host. You will get clear idea when you see this diagram. So there is a host to host, and then the peripherals are connected to that host. So USB support 4 different types of data transfer, namely control, bulk, isochronous and interrupt. So where the control transfer, data transfer by the USB system supports configuring, issue commands and the USB device to the USB devices. Bulk transfer is used for sending the bulk of data to the devices, where the isochronous data transfer is used for real data transfer data communication, where the interrupt transfer is used for transmitting a small amount of data. So next on this list is FireWire, that is also called as an IEEE 1394. So it is a wired isochronous high speed communication protocol, and it is started and further developed by Apple Inc. in 1985, and the standard is coined by IEEE. The popular communication interface for connecting embedded device like digital camera, camcorder, scanner to desktop or a laptop for data transfer. or storage. Supports peer-to-peer connection, one point to another point, peer-to-peer connection. A point-to-multipoint communication allows 63 devices you can connect at a time using the tree topology. Tree, I can hope you can understand the tree topology. So, the unlike USB 92 does not require a host. Here directly you can connect the scanner with the printer for printing. This is a speciality of this. Does not require any host for connection. Next one in this list is infrared data communication. It's a serial, half duplex and line of sight based wireless technology. Most of the half duplex, one side communication. A best example is TV remote, where we use IRD, a communication protocol, where when we send the signal, infrared signals by using the button, pressing the buttons in the remote, and the remote always we have to hold pointing to the receiver of the TV for remote signals. If we point that remote to some other places other than that point, instead of pointing to the TV receiver, infrared receiver, then it won't operate or it won't work most of the time. Infrared communication makes use of the infrared, that is called line of sight based wireless technology for data communication between the two devices. Infrared supports point to point or point to multi-point communication, provided all the devices involved in the communication are within the line of sight. I told you what is meant by line of sight. And 1 meter, the infrared lies in the range of 10 centimeter to 1 centimeter. Now as the technology has more inventions are going on, this infrared as a technology also developed or enhanced for more range. Range has increased nowadays. Infrared supports the data rate range of 9600 bits per second to 16 Mbps, and the TV remote of your TV, VCD players, etc. work on the infrared data communication principle. That what I explained. The next one in the list is Bluetooth. So nowadays most of them we use a ShareIt or any other equivalent software. We transfer the data from our mobile to PC or PC to mobile or mobile to mobile, the data with a much more speed than the right. So but before earlier before that Android phones, we in the previous phones we used, whatever introduced, they used a Bluetooth technology for data communication among them, for transferring the music files, ringtones, pictures, media files. And Bluetooth is a low power, low cost, short range wireless technology for data and voice communication. And nowadays you will find most of the music players were also enabled with the Bluetooth connectivity, and even in some of the cars we use Bluetooth for connecting for music system. So might be observed. So Bluetooth supports point to point device communication and point to multi-point device, multi-point broadcasting wireless communication too, and more than one device as slaves, right, then the Bluetooth device as a master, an embedded system where Bluetooth communication is incorporated. It's called as a Piconet. A Piconet supports maximum of 7 slaves devices, 1 master and 7 slaves. I hope you understood what I am explaining. So, and it supports the data rate of up to 1 Mbps, and the range is approximately 30 feet for data communication. Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is a wireless fidelity. It is the most popular wireless communication techniques for network communication of a device, or even in internet kind of internet support if it is required. So, it supports this kind of protocols will support internet protocol based communication, and you might be observed in your in most of the engineering colleges the campus were Wi-Fi enabled. So, where this wireless technique is used for supporting the internet facility. The Wi-Fi router and wireless access points to manage the communications. Wi-Fi supports the data rate ranging from 1 Mbps to 150 Mbps and offers a range of 100 to 300 feet. ZigBee. ZigBee is a low power, low cost wireless communication protocol based on IEEE 802.15.4 2006 standard. So, it is widely used in WPAN, means wireless personal area networking, and this is the technology target low power, low data rate and secured applications. And the range, it will operate unlicensed range of radio spectrum, that is 2.484 gigahertz or 9.902 to 928 megahertz in this range. And the ZigBee supports the operating distance up to 100 meters, the data rate of 20 to 250 kbps. And in ZigBee devices we can categorize into three. One is ZigBee coordinator, another is ZigBee router, another one is a ZigBee end device. So, ZigBee coordinator act as a route for a ZigBee network, where it's also denoted as ZC, is responsible for initializing a ZigBee network, and it has a capability to store the information about the network, where the ZigBee router is responsible for passing the information from one ZigBee device to another ZigBee device, and the ZigBee end device is called as a ZED, and an end device connecting to ZigBee functionally for data communication, where that one ZET will communicate another ZET using through this ZR and ZC that you are able to see that on the screen. Okay. Last one in the external communication interface is General Packet Radio Service, that is GPRS. So, it is most commonly used in our Bluetooth and that's our mobiles, as you know. GPRS is the communication technique for transferring data over the mobile communication networks like GSM. The GPRS supports a theoretically maximum data transfer rate of 17.2 kbps. The GPRS communication divides the channel into 8 time slots. The given channel is divided into 8 time slot and transmit the data over the available channels. Okay. This will end the end of the communication interface section of chapter 2. If you have any doubt, any queries, please send me a mail. Press the like button and subscribe.